Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Talking shirt! Shirt show! Shirt man! Alright! Episode 255 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Jeff from EverGood Supply in California! Let's go!
Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Dylan. I'm the owner of Upstate Merch and the host of the Shirt Show podcast. My guest host today was Nate Hansen from Hansen Screen Printing. Really good dude. We had him on the show before. We like to chat in DMs and stuff, and he talks about wrestling. We send each other, memes and whatnot, but just a really good dude. We got the opportunity to talk with Jeff from EverGood Merch. Again, we had him on the show previously, but it was like 200 episodes or so ago. It was really cool to kind of see where his shop went from then to now. Both Nate and Jeff started their screen printing journey or their businesses just before COVID. So a lot of the discussion today was on, what it's like to, I talk about how I started, back in like 2008, 2009, where I got to see all these years of like growth and seasons and like, things being great. And they started, post COVID, where ever since then, things have been just a roller coaster of all over the place. And, it's funny to hear to them that it's the normal, like they're just used to how that is. So, it was really interesting to dive into all of that stuff. Some of the other stuff we talked about today was, about staying small and running smart, running lean. I was talking about how I'm kind of skittish or scared of the fact that, I don't want to take any big risks right now because the market is so up and down and all over the place. I don't have those projections to tell me, it's going to be busy up until this time. So it was kind of interesting to hear their perspective on that. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have Jeff on is because we were talking about, again, staying lean. He started to get busy and a little bit overwhelmed with the jobs that he had coming in, and he had the opportunity to run a second shift. And I thought that was interesting because a lot of people talk about it, but not a lot of people can pull it off. And he has kind of pulled it off. So we get into that a little bit, and it's interesting to see how he made it work. The second part of that is us as owners getting in our own way. And we talk about how we need to kind of give a little bit of that trust to our employees to, take the reins and handle it. We don't always have to be everything to everybody all the time. As always, thank you so much to you guys for listening, watching, however you take this podcast in. Things have been great lately. We've had some really good episodes. If you can go back, take a listen. If you have any questions or concerns or, anything you want to see on the show, hit me up. I'm the one who answers the DMs on Shirt Show Instagram, or you can send us an email. We have some really cool new things coming, so keep an eye out for that. It would mean the world to me if you could, take a second, subscribe, take a photo or a video of what you're doing when you're listening to the show, post it on socials, tag us. This show wouldn't at all be possible without our beautiful partners. Frank. It all starts with a screen. It's called screen printing for a reason. Whether it's new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. Stop wasting your precious time and get the right tool for the job. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, greatfuckingscreens.com, or ffffrank.com. Cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it way more funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay is the easiest way, baby. Graphics is the source for production-ready digital art and remote art staffing. They can help any size shop from just starting out to enterprise level. Looking to add a hero to your art department? Check them out at graphxsource.com. I'm about to reach out to Nick because we're going to need some extra help here coming up. My main artist and separator is going to be out for a little while, so I'm fully confident that Graphic Source is going to be able to help carry me through that whole time. SNS Activewear and Alpha Broder are integrating to become your premier partner for the apparel industry. With one website, one purchase order, 14 distribution centers, and over 100 beloved brands, you can streamline your ordering and hit free freight faster than ever. SNS has 1 to 2 day shipping with the lowest error rate in the industry. Don't forget they have combined net term limits to benefit your business like never before. Be sure to order your blanks from ssactivewear.com. The weathered hues of Comfort Colors are inspired by nature, so it makes sense that their dye process would be made with respect for it too. The Pigment Pure process produces earth-friendly colors by using a third less water, taking 40% less process time, and consuming less energy, requiring zero salt. The 1717 is my favorite shirt of all time. Again, speaking of the 1717, we do have Shirt Show merch. We're about to put out a bunch of new stuff, but some of the classics, here on the 1717, we got the Hulkamania Shirt Show shirt. So, if you want to grab some stuff, support the show. It helps us. It'd be cool. Also, you'd look really cool. Why not? For over 90 years, Stahls has been the leading choice among apparel decorators for their heat transfer materials, heat press equipment, and custom transfer services. Not only do they offer some of the best products, but they're always looking to innovate and educate in our industry on all things heat press. Head over to stahls.com to order your transfers and check them out on YouTube to get taught a thing or two. Some really great content on there. Again, would love to hear from you guys. Shoot us a DM, tag us in your stories. We'd love to hear from you. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. Enjoy this episode. Hey, are you home now?
This is my wife's shop. I'm not going to be interrupted by a 3-year-old.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, having a better day.
Yeah, actually, I've had a really good day. I'm back. I just got back from Florida. Me and Christina took the kids to Disney on Monday, and then SeaWorld on Tuesday, and then Wednesday was just kind of like a chill at the house day. So,
how's Disney?
I've been to Disney every year for the past, I don't know what it's been, 5-6 years now.
Man, bless your soul, dude.
It's not necessarily by choice. It's by my daughter's choice. She loves it. I mean, I do like it. I think it's like one of the better places to go and take the kids. I think it definitely holds especially if you've ever gone anywhere else, like you've ever gone to any other like attraction or theme park or something like that. Like Disney has definitely nailed the magic factor of like all the different parks and the theme of everything. And I think I've talked about it on the show a few times about how that stuff just kind of blows my mind. Also, the merchandising, like for us in the industry, looking at that stuff is insane. Like the amount that goes into everything that they do. And like you come out of a ride and you go through the gift shop, obviously they exit through the gift shop thing, and everything in that store is themed from that ride. Like my kids like the Haunted Mansion. So like as soon as we came out of Haunted Mansion, we went into the gift shop for there, and that's where they get their take home gift or whatever was from Haunted Mansion. And it's just like the amount of thought that goes into every single piece in there is crazy. And that's for like every fucking ride at Disney basically is like there's something themed or something to go along with it.
It's clean as shit too, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I
had buddies that used to go work there, and like there's no trash anywhere. People are constantly picking up shit on the ground. I went to Disney one time, and that was like 11 years ago. We did our family moon. So when my wife and I got married, my daughters were, 9, 7, and 4 or something. It was not. We went to Universal too. So, I mean, we did park after park after park, and it's like Disney was our last one. And it's like, I'm tapping out. I'm done. And now she wants to take a 3-year-old too. And I'm like, I do not want to go to Disney, but we're going to have to.
The thing about it is it's like, there's things that I definitely look forward to about that place, but like there is to a degree of like, what do we do that we haven't done before? Because, we've done every ride, and there's the classics of the ones you want to do, but there's some new ones. But my daughter asked me, I think yesterday, like, what was your favorite part of visiting these parks or whatever? And I was like, Liberty Tree Tavern is my favorite. It's like a restaurant in Magic Kingdom, and it's all you can eat Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh shit.
And I was like, yeah. So, hey, the people don't know, but we attempted this already last week before I left. We had some issues. We had some internet issues, and we had some technical issues with Jeff, but we didn't get very far in. We didn't get a lot of info. It's not like I have to do all this twice. But I do want to, touch base with you because, you were on the show. What did I have? You were on the show episode 53. That was literally like about 200 episodes ago.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Changed. Things have changed. Before it was a one man all day, all night, nonstop working in the business. And now I've got my daughter. She's managing the front end. I've got a main guy in the back, and I've got 3 other part-time guys. So, went from just a one-man shop pre-COVID to, 5 of us.
To being able to breathe a little bit.
Oh, dude. I told my daughter, I said, the more you take off my plate, the more you're going to get paid, and I'm not, that should be literally the slogan for every owner ever. It's hard having your child as an employee, because I don't take it home with me, but she does. We don't live together. She lives with her boyfriend,
right.
But she'll text my wife and say, Dad was kind of a dick today. And I'm like, no, your boss is kind of a dick today. You're
right. You need to separate that.
4:00 came, but she's 21. She'll figure it out. And, I need to, I pivot a lot from dad to boss, hey, you're fucking up here, but you're doing a good job here. It's tough, but she's doing good. She's taking more off my plate.
Was that her in the picture the other day? You kind of had like a bring your daughter to work day, or was that?
Yeah. So talking about
nice.
Print Hustlers. Nice, so Ryan just sent the message to everybody about Print Hustlers. So it's in Chicago again this year. So I told her, let's go. And she can meet other people in the industry and rub elbows and talk about shit that bothers her as the person that's talking to customers. And I think it'll be good for her. She needs to, network a little bit.
It definitely will be. I mean, I've had that where I have people here that have, been here 15 years or whatever, and they're in our own bubble of the shop. And then I take them out to Vegas or Long Beach or whatever. And then they walk around and they see the equipment and stuff, and they get a kind of a feel of this is a lot bigger than I am kind of feel, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then, but the nice thing is the after stuff, or, people coming up to me that are friends that I have just from industry and Shirt Show and whatever else. And then they become friends with them as well. And then they start sharing stories. And it's nice when it comes from someone else's mouth other than my own. You know what I mean? They witness these things firsthand. Whereas it's way different if I just go and come back and I'm like, oh, I heard this or I learned this or whatever. And it usually is in one ear and out the other kind of thing. Not that happens all the time. I'm just saying, like, I'm sharing an experience, but it's one thing when they go and they share that experience like firsthand. And then they're like, oh yeah, I definitely want to change that or do this or whatever. It's so nice to have them be motivated to do it.
Right. Well, I think it's going to help her take ownership in certain things too, where, with whether it's a speaker at Print Hustlers or something, or, where something might click to her, where if I'm just coming back to the shop saying, hey, I heard about lean and this is what we should do, or, where they're all just like, what the fuck are you talking about? In her case,
she's like, okay, Dad. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think getting her out there more, I don't know what her future is going to be. I don't think, she eventually wants to do her own thing and have her yoga studio and do stuff like that. But at least this way, bringing her on this side of the business will help teach her behind the scenes of the business and how things operate, and whether she wants to do it on her own, or, she's got a job, as long as she, like I said, takes more off of my shoulders.
It's always nice to just see like your kid taking on responsibilities or working a problem that you didn't have to teach them or show them or whatever. And it kind of makes you feel like a good person or like you did your job. You know what I mean? Like you're, okay, cool. They're on their way.
Well, I think for me too, I need another friend of mine is a business owner in the area, his coffee shop. He's got a speakeasy. He does all this stuff. And we were talking about younger generation just needing that praise, all the constant praise. And I've always had a hard time with that, just because you're getting paid, do your job. These are your expectations. your praise is your paycheck, you know. But when your daughter's in the mix, you gotta kind of pivot as an owner. Like, shit, I need to make an extra effort to like tell people great job, or, you know, pat on the back. And it's tough for me. I did construction for so many years. Nobody gave a shit, you know, what you were doing, you know?
No, that's not really the environment where that kind of stuff happens.
No. So that's something I need to work on as an owner, and just give people their due diligence with praising, and I'll work on it.
I definitely want to ask Jeff about that. So let's get him in here. So today our guest is Jeff McGuire from EverGood Merch, and he's here and ready. So I'm going to get him in. Hey, bud.
Hey.
How was your day at work?
It was good. Still a lot to do, but we're working through it. It was a good production day, though.
I was asking Christina why your time was what it was today, and it was because your shift ended.
Yeah, basically. Well, when we scheduled this, my shift would have ended, but now we're pulling all-nighters. You know how it is. The tour merch never stops. The pre-orders never stop. So it's getting crazy. What a week or week and a half will do to your whole schedule. It's insane.
Are you guys busy this week, or were you busy like 2 weeks ago?
We are busy until the middle of June right now. It's we took on a rush job like a week or two ago, got through that, which then put everything else behind, which our clients are all fine with. We're now making time up for that. So I'm doing double shifts and just trying to keep production running as smooth as possible. But we also added in the unfortunate added labor cost and everything of fulfillment for one of our clients for the next 6 weeks. So we're now, even though we are pretty good at it, we are like deep into the thick of it, of fulfilling hundreds and hundreds of orders. As we print, they come off, and we're fulfilling where normally they just go in a box and ship out UPS. So we're navigating all of that, all while us trying to keep production rolling as good as we can. So
isn't it funny how we get to a point in the business where we have a growing pain spot like that, where we have the capability to print this or do that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, there's this whole other facet that we could do and maybe should get into, but we're not necessarily prepared yet. Like if you were a fulfillment shop or into it, you would have a folding bagging line after everything, and you would have, you know, barcodes ready for this, and you would have warehouse space to keep everything and do everything. But you're at that stage where you're like, yeah, we can print the stuff. We also can fold and bag and do fulfillment, but it's all manual. Like you're folding it, bagging it by hand, barcoding it, like the whole process. So
it's pretty wild. It's just getting into the thick of it. Cause I mean, I used to do it for my own brand, but not to the scale. So it's really interesting, like, you know, guiding our employees who've never done it either, and just going like, okay, we got to be on top of it and organized, and, you know, go in with a game plan, because if you don't, it could go bad quick. But everybody's been on top of the ball, and it's working out well, and it's really helping one of our clients, because the reason why we're doing it is because at a drop of a moment's notice, they got offered to do touring merch for somebody. And so they decided to go do that and requested if we could help fulfill for them. And so, you know, I didn't want their business to have any issues. So we just took it on. And, you know, it's more of just packing an order is not very difficult. You just got to double check all of your work, but, you know, just implementing it, like what you were saying is like, now that's a whole other task that we have to manage ourselves.
Well, it's not necessarily that any of it is difficult. It's just logistics. That's like a whole nother step.
Yeah,
that's like a whole nother thing. It's like, okay, cool. Like we have orders like that every so often where, they want the whole folding bagging, whole shebang. Right. And it's kind of like, to a degree, we've done so much printing and we're so used to it that the printing is the easiest part. And it's like, we have boxes and boxes of stuff done, printed, ready. And then it's sitting in the finishing room for another 4 or 5 days because we're not ready yet to do the folding bagging, or we don't have the people to pull from production to do the folding and bagging and whatever. And it's like, oh, if you would have just ordered this, it would have went out 5 days ago.
Right.
But now that we have this whole other stuff that we have to do, like we have to make time and get people and finagle it and figure it out and whatever.
Yeah.
So
how much space do you have, Jeff? I mean, did you have that space before to do all this fulfillment?
Well, we've got two units. We occupy 2 units with a dividing wall, each of which is 1,200 square feet. So we've got like 2,400 square feet of working room. But dedicated room for this is probably less than, I would say, 800 square feet. So right now we just have tables lined up with, the little purple or blue t-shirt folders and stacks of folded t-shirts, all different SKUs and things like that. And so as we're finishing printing, we are folding and shipping. So it's working well because it doesn't take up much space for too long. The problem is now we're getting into this is a whole collection that we're printing for a client. So there's 6 different shirts. And so even though you finish printing one shirt and those are folded and ready to go, you still have 500 orders that are waiting on the other designs, that to finish up. So
one thing that I've seen at a shop that I thought was really cool was John at Logo Daddy. They had a speedy tee right at the end of the dryer.
Yeah.
So basically, as a shirt is coming off, they're taking the shirt, laying it flat on the speedy tee, hitting the button, and then it's folding it and then flops it into a pile. Yeah. So you're kind of skipping the step of, laying out all the shirts at the end of the dryer, putting them in a box or moving them, and then taking it to somewhere for them to fold. They're kind of immediately just going off the dryer onto the speedy tee instead of off the dryer onto a table, folded in dozens and whatever. So it's kind of an inexpensive, it has a cost, but it's an inexpensive way to quickly fold at least all the garments right off the end of the dryer instead of taking a whole nother step. So maybe that's your next move is, because they don't take up a lot of space. I think they're whatever, 3 foot by 4 foot or something like that. To just have that at the end of the dryer and fold all these items right then and there.
Well, that's our next step. I never really thought too much about fulfillment, but it's an added bonus for both our shop and our customer too, because our customer, they're all the way across the country in Florida, so there's that travel time of all of the apparel going back to them. Right. Our customer who's still, they are still folding themselves and occupying their own space. And then a big percentage of all of that comes back to California because a lot of their customer base is in California. So it could streamline a lot of stuff going back to their customers and getting pre-orders into their hands even faster, save 10 days or whatever it is.
I think the cool thing with a lot of that stuff, though, too, is it's the added value of you're not just another screen printer now. You're doing folding, bagging, fulfillment, this and this. It more solidifies them with you than, okay. It was like Nate was talking about before you got on here of having his daughter hired. It's like, I will pay you more the more you take off my plate. And it's kind of like you're doing the same thing for your client. Is like they're willing to pay you more if you can make it to where when they get a box of shirts, they don't have to inventory it. They don't have to fold it, bag it, put it on plastic shelves in their basement. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Yep. It's like you're handling all that to where they can go, oh, cool, boom, throw it in the thing. Exactly. Or they don't have to touch it at all, which in the case of fulfillment is you're just doing the whole process and they don't have to touch it.
Right.
So,
yeah. So we'll see if they see the value add to it. I think they already do. And, it's just, and it's so new to us that we have to figure out the correct pricing too, because you don't want to scare them away and go like, but you also don't want to undercharge for all of the labor that goes into it. So yeah, we're still figuring it all out for sure.
I do feel like that's one of those things where it's so on the cheap end, or it's the thing that people think they can cut you down the most on. And it's like, there's so like, if you don't have an automatic machine to fold and bag and barcode, it takes a lot of time and energy to like do the whole process. So, and you have to charge to be competitive with the guy who has that automation.
Right.
So you're kind of eating it until you get to that point to a degree.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I guess I want to take a step back, that we had you on Shirt Show before on episode 38. Right.
Yeah. It's
and you were just kind of getting going. So I want to step back and be like, hey, where have you been and what has happened since then?
Sure.
So
yeah, so a lot of things have changed. I think when we talked, I was actually getting a manual M&R Chameleon. I think I had paid for a used 10 color Chameleon, and I was stoked. I mean, I really was. I bought a red Chili D as well from M&R. I was ready to roll in 1,200 square feet and just be a manual printer and just do some super high color stuff that I wanted to print. And honestly, I was going to take my own personal brand. And, you know, I think a lot of screen printers do this or even start out that way. But I was going to take my own personal brand and just kind of build and be able to just not necessarily be a huge screen printer, but I wanted to offer, you know, some services to some customers. And just as easy as, you know, we opened up, all of that changed. So we had some troubles getting into our space because of permitting. It was a brand new building. So the state of California made it crazy difficult to get in, get the power turned on, everything like that. And then all the while, that M&R that I purchased, that Chameleon, we bought it through an equipment broker, so it was used and everything. And that wound up being a scam, apparently. So we didn't wind up with a manual at all. So I was back to square one, trying to decide, you know, what I wanted to do. And after talking with a few buddies, you know, we wound up going with getting an automatic. And this was during.
Well, truth be told, that was probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
Absolutely.
To be honest.
Absolutely.
Like, you dodged the bullet. If anything, you had that Lord looking over you.
For sure.
Two things. One, with the work that you're doing and the clientele you have, printing all that shit manually would have killed you.
Oh my God.
You wouldn't have been.
I would have.
You would not still be here. Secondly, stop going with the sketchy shit. Hit up someone like Nikki at Embellisher or, you know, some of these other reputable places. And,
I mean, she honestly, she hadn't even started by the time when I was looking around. And if she had, it was in very early stages. So I went with that Dave McLean, who I've known about for a decade or whatever.
You didn't get scammed through Dave.
Not through Dave. No. The person he was purchasing.
Because Dave's great.
Yeah. Dave's awesome. Dave's awesome. Yeah. And if Dave's listening, they got me my money back. No questions asked.
Okay.
I mean, it was wired right back super quick. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I definitely dodged a bullet, but I was, because before I opened my shop, I had surgery, so I had a lot of downtime, and I was actually listening to Upstate Pod before you started Shirt Show, and I remember you talking a lot about, you know, not opening up a business going into a ton of debt, and that was one thing where I was trying to stay true to that as best as I could. And that was the sole reason why I really wanted to start it off with a manual press and build. And, you know, I wasn't sure where the clients were going to actually come from. And then I don't know, COVID was a good time to purchase equipment. So I got a really good rate on financing. They made it really easy to buy the press, honestly. And I think I got pretty lucky with the with the price that we got. And we wound up going with,
we actually got pretty lucky with the world being shut down from a killer virus.
It was, gosh, that was such an interesting time to open a shop. Like it was, I mean, I think my third month being open, I got COVID and I shut down for 2 weeks. Like it was so weird. And, but I learned a lot during that whole time.
So your actual start was what? When was it? 2020?
It was October of 2020 was when we were able to get into the warehouse.
Nate, when were you? You were 19 or 20 or 18?
November of 19. So same time. COVID was 2020, right? Right? 2020?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember anymore.
I don't either, dude. Like I was thinking about that the other day and I was like, yeah, COVID was 2022. And then someone was like, nah, it was 2020. Like the last basically 5 years have been a complete blur to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Last week's episode, you were talking about like sales and stuff since before COVID and how the last 5 years has just been, it's not consistent like it used to be. Sure. So like Jeff and I, we don't even know what that looked like. You know, it was just, it is what it is. And I think that during or right before COVID helped me not get pounded with a bunch of jobs. And it helped me be able to figure things out and see what was working, what wasn't working versus the alternate, which is you're just getting slapped in the face and you're running around in circles, you know? So that slow period helped me out in my shop a little bit. So I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
The funny thing is I talked about this before, but it's kind of like when I and a lot of shops started was in kind of the 2008, 2009 when the economy was shit then too. But the thing is when you're first starting, you don't really notice that things are shit because you're just starting and you're getting, 1 or 2 or 3 jobs a week. You're like, oh, cool, success. You know what I mean? And it's like for a shop that's bigger and more successful and has more employees, we're looking at it as like, oh my God, like there's, half as many orders and people aren't spending as much money. But when you're brand new, you don't know. You have no idea like what's good, what's bad, or what's happening. So if you like all these shops that started 2008, 2009, we're just like, all right, cool. I'm taking what I'm taking and I'm growing up. And then, that whole recession thing kind of died out. And then we all got comfortable with these, heavy summers and slow down winters. And it was seasonal every year, basically until 2020 of like, hell yeah, we know in this summer we're going to grow like this. And every year we've had X amount of growth and whatever. And then all of a sudden 2020 comes and kicks us all in the teeth. And it's like, nah, we're changing the world. And, orders are never going to be the same. And that's funny because that's when you guys are starting up and you're doing the same kind of thing I had to do in 2008 is, okay, yeah, whatever comes in and we're good.
Right.
And Jeff, you got to take advantage of the fact of the market being what it was. And you're like, you're ready to buy a press. You're not basically hoarding all your money because you have all these bills to pay. You're like, cool. You're taking the opportunity and being like, oh, I can fully take advantage of the market being what it is and buy an auto and be comfortable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It was very fortunate timing, with everything going on at that time. Yeah. And, definitely one of the best decisions we made for the shop. I don't know where we would be if I was manual. I probably wouldn't be printing if I continued being a manual shop. And, where things have gone since then, as far as pricing for presses, it would be hard to stomach the price of a press now. So, it was just a luck and timing, I guess, like you're saying. So
we kind of had, I don't remember what it was. It was the episode that just came out. We were talking about how Ross had said something about how, you shouldn't be printing. You know what I mean? Like if you're the business owner, you should be working on the business. You should be whatever, not printing. And then I was looking at the comments and some of the people were saying, there's a difference between this or that and whatever. And it made me think of, someone made the comment of like, oh, if I had to start all over, I would just buy an auto first thing. I wouldn't necessarily do the manual to this, to that, to the auto. And right now you're making me think, is there a basis for that argument of do you hop right in and get, I mean, you don't have to go right in and get like some 14 color massive auto and have this big expense. Cause that was my argument that you were talking about before, is like, don't go into a bunch of debt. Like there's a difference between like, okay, I comfortably can pay this and I have this, 8 color auto or something, and I'll slowly buy like an air compressor. I'll slowly buy, like you could buy a used medium dryer and then upgrade that stuff. I'm not saying go out and get a 14 color press and this massive, huge dryer and this warehouse and this air compressor and 5 employees to run it and everything else, because that's just kind of a nightmare. But is there an argument for, hey, I want to start a screen printing shop? I get a 6'8" Sportsman or a, whatever Rock has that's, that small, and just start. You know what I mean? Nate, what do you think about that? Like, because you kind of have both and you were the one man show. Would you rather go back now and be like, buy a small auto and just go? Like, does that save your back? Does that save your life? Does that let you do more things?
Yeah. Well, when I took over a shop he was around for maybe 20, 25 years, and he had an auto, he had a couple manuals. I still have that same auto, but my thought was I need more people. I've got these presses. I can't be the only one operating all of them. But that became more of a problem with managing people and trying to teach them how things are done a certain way. So if I were to do it all over again without any space, right now I need to upgrade my auto, but I don't have the space or the footprint to do it. So when my lease is up, I need to find a new space. I want to buy a building. So that's kind of where I'm at before I buy an auto and try to squeeze anything else into my shop that I can't function. So if I were to do it all over again, I'd absolutely just buy an auto right away. I think Disney, he's a one-man show, isn't he? He's got an auto. There's so many one-man shows with an automatic press that are pumping out shirts like you wouldn't believe versus a manual shop,
I think it's one thing to start from the hobbyist perspective. You know what I mean? You're like, I want to get into screen printing. And you're like, so many people are like, oh, I bought a speedball kit. And then I bought a 4-color 2-station manual. And then I got hooked on screen printing and realized, okay, I want to start a business. Like, to me, that seems more reasonable to get your feet wet. Like, I'm not saying like have an idea one night while you're laying in bed watching TV that you want to start a screen printing shop and then go buy an auto that night. I'm saying maybe realize this is what you want to do. And then when you're like, hey, I'm going to take this business seriously, it's not go buy 2 manuals, hire 4 people, get a dryer, and then you're just manually printing your ass off, basically. It's like, okay, do I get a used auto and start there and go? Because I feel like you were just talking about, well, my opinion when I got into this business, taking it over for this guy who did it for 20 years, was your first instinct, which most people's is to immediately be like, well, I'm a business owner now. My goal should be to have 100 employees and have all these people doing all this work, and we're generating all this money, because as soon as I hire somebody, that person is going to generate me 2x my wealth. You know what I mean? That's kind of what people think when they start out. But now that you're into it so much, you're like, you know what? I want to have 2 people that I trust and I want to have efficiencies that help me get more work done with less people. Yeah. So I think that's the argument. Like, Jeff, you basically did this model. And this is something that we talk about frequently, is like, I have limited amount of space. I have this auto, and I'm trying to find as many efficiencies as possible in my shop to stay lean and mean and get these jobs done.
Right. Exactly. Like we, and a couple of the things that we've done, I mean, not to jump too far ahead, but I mean, we bought a blue water, one of those small little blue water reclaim units to help, just in the screen department. I have a part-time guy who comes in now 2 days a week, 8 hours. He doesn't even like taking breaks. I have to make him sometimes, but he just pops his AirPods in, and for 8 hours a day, he's cleaning screens. So for 2 days a week, I have screens for the next week and we're prepped and ready to go. And then I have another part-time guy that just helps on press. And then, it's a lot of it for us is figuring out those efficiencies and staying small, because as much as I want to knock the wall down that I have in my shop and make it a big, square rather than a rectangle of workspace. If I did that, I would then want to put that 14 color press in. But I mean, I'm at that point where I'm happy where I'm at. I want to stay small because, last year I found that I was working just as hard as I am today with 3 extra people in the shop, and we weren't really getting much more done. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we really weren't getting much more done. And it was because I felt like I needed more people instead of figuring out where the best place to have people were. So some of the work that we do, we have to go around 2 times on the press, which causes, people to wait around. And then at that point, do you really need somebody standing at the end of the dryer to catch those shirts? I mean, I've trained myself well enough, where it's like, if the press is spinning, if it has to spin one other time, I don't need that person at the end of the dryer. I can go grab those and catch them and fold them. Which
is funny. We've done that before in earlier days where it's like, okay, we have a 8 color auto and we have a 6 color print. And, in order to get this look good, we have to spin it 3 times or whatever it is. And you're like, okay, I can time the beeps to know
exactly.
Okay, well, this beep just happened. I can literally fast walk to the dryer. I can fold the 10 or the 8 or whatever that just came off the auto. And then I can hurry up, get those folded and put where they got to go and get back to the press by the second beep to know I got to do the up down on the switches and keep going.
That's so funny. Yep. I do that today. I was doing that this morning. So,
well, that's what keeps your overhead low too. I mean, you have all these people standing around not doing anything. You're like, man, like you said, you have more people, but you're not really getting more done, so it's kind of like, I'm in the same boat. I don't want to grow just to grow, I'd rather just stay as small as I can and do what I need to do and make sure my overhead costs are taken care of, make sure my employees are getting a decent living wage and live comfortable, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Well, the funny thing about that is just doing the math of like, okay, well, you have, say, Jeff, you had these 2 extra people last year and you're getting the same amount of done, if not more. You look at that, you're like, okay, just rough numbers. I'm going to say $500 a person a week or whatever. So you're like, okay, cool. There's $1,000 a week that you were spending on 2 extra people. Well, 4 weeks a month. Okay. There's $4,000 that you're spending on 2 people. And that's not including like insurance and, all these other things and benefits or healthcare or whatever it is you're doing for this person, 401k. What does that $4,000 equate to that would make you more efficient with less people? Exactly. And, and it's not just taking one payment and replacing it with another. It's like, okay, well, if I spent $4,000 on, say, a CTS and a auto reclaim or whatever it is, I took that $4,000 and I made it as payments towards those things. It's like, okay, well, if I know I can do that, and then whatever extra money I want to dump into it, if I know I can pay off that equipment in 3 years or something, you're not losing money. You're saving yourself 2 people. The machines never call in sick. They never complain to you. They don't have issues, whatever. And in 3 years, you get to keep that $4,000 now.
Right.
And you still get the same efficiency, you get whatever. So it's like the ROI is like do the math and figure out, okay, well, instead of having these people, I'm going to invest in myself and buy equipment. And again, I hate saying this. It makes me sound like fire people and buy new equipment to replace them. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if they go away or put them somewhere else, you know what I mean? You might have had 2 people in the screen department where now you're like, okay, cool. I can take those two people and do this folding and bagging, and I don't have to hire more people.
Exactly.
Like I could stay the 6 or 8 people and be more efficient and get more done, but you're kind of just moving them around. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know, Nate, we were talking before about how you're like, oh, I want to buy a new building. I want to do this and that. And it's like, the old man in me wants to be like, nah, dude, fucking don't.
I know.
I stay where you are.
Turned 40. Yeah, I just turned 40, so I got glasses. I got my first root canal coming. I got an eagle tattoo for my 40th. Just like, I'm like, shit.
A fresh new pair of white New Balances.
Yeah, no, I can't do that yet. But it's,
you're missing out.
Real estate is always going to be a good investment, So whether I have the building for the shop, 10, 15 years, if my daughter wants anything to do with it, she can do something with it. If it's no longer a print shop, it's already like, when you're at a certain age, what's your exit plan?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I was in the laborers union for 18 years doing masonry. So I do have a pension coming when I turn 55. Not that that's anything that's going to make a difference in how I make decisions right now, but I would like to build a shop. So if my daughter wanted to take it over, there is newer equipment. There is CTS, there's auto reclaim. There's stuff in there that she doesn't have to struggle with, the things that I had to in this small space just to make things work, Try to be efficient as much as possible in the small space you have. And you're like, well, maybe if I move this over here, no, that doesn't work. And then you're just kind of stuck. So
one other thing that doesn't get talked about enough, I feel like, is like buying a space or building a space that's not just for you. Like, one of the benefits I have here is I own this building. It's an old train station, but I have 2 rentals in here. Like, I have myself, and then I have, well, one's a complicated situation, but then I have another one that pays me rent every month. So it's like, if you're going to build a building, yeah, you could make it for yourself. But what if you had extra space and you made it rentals where, okay, the mortgage or whatever you would have for the payment on this building is covered by these 2 renters that are in there or whatever it is. And then you're like, cool, now I have basically a space that's my own, but it's paid for by somebody else being there. Mm-hmm. And then the thing is too, is like, if you need to grow or expand, you get rid of that renter and now you have more space. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, initially you might make the building bigger than you thought you were going to for these rental spaces, but A, it's paying off the building, and B, it's extra space when you need it. So
right.
I don't know. Like, if I had to rebuild, that's what I would do. I would just make more than enough space. Tyler did that with his new place. I'm so jealous of the amount of room that he has in his shop. He's like, oh yeah, I got whole nother, huge warehouse over here that's wide open. And he's like, oh, we're just going to start making bays and renting it out. I'm like, dude, what I would give so much right now for an extra like 20 feet in the shop in certain areas. Like Jeff's saying, like, oh, this fulfillment and all this other stuff. Like, if I just had enough room to buy a folder bagger, like, I don't have a folder bagger machine, not because I can't afford it or don't want it. It's because I literally can't put it anywhere. Like, it takes up so much room. I'm just like, I have no place to put this thing. So I am manually folding and bagging things because it's the only option I have. Like, and then your alternative, you can never have enough space.
And then your alternative is employees that are pissed off that they're folding and bagging all day long, or not, or you know what I mean? And it just gets, you don't want to drain them because you need them, Mm-hmm. You want to make their job easier, but it's a tough
I also look at it too as like, I own this building. I have no payments. Like, I have no overhead on the building. I pay the taxes once a year. Like, that's why I'm like, oh, I'm not going to move. Like, we don't have really any complaints or anything about being here. Like, I do have a lot of space in this building and I have all the equipment I want in it. It's just, I don't have these extra luxuries of excess room when you need it for those like huge orders, or you want to do this folding and bagging in the shipping and receiving room. Like, if we're busy in the summer, I have enough room for like everybody's orders. I just don't have enough room for moving around, basically. So I don't know. I think that, like you're saying, at the certain age you're at, like, the investment in real estate sounds great. And it's going to give your daughter more space to have a better business than the struggle you had to go through. Mm-hmm. But maybe think about in that investment that, how do I get this to pay for itself? Or how do I get this to not be a burden? Because that's my biggest concern right now, especially the way the world is the uncertainties. You could be like, all right, I'm going to go spend, X million dollars on a new building. And then some other plague happens or something. And you're like, I don't have the 10 grand a month I need to pay this place. And then it all gets taken from you. And then you're like, fuck, I wish I was still in that shack or whatever you were in before. You know what I mean? Of like, I didn't have to worry about it.
No, do you feel that way with everything right now? With all of your thinking, with like all the unknowns, like you don't want to take that next step because something might happen again. You know what I mean? I'm skittish. I'm skittish as hell. I've never been like a huge risk taker because I've had kids really young, and I just had to put my head down and go to work and, you know, pay the bills and stuff. But, you know, my wife, we bought my wife's building for her office and stuff like that. And she's like, just buy it, just do it. You told me to do it. And it's like, well, you never know what's going to happen right now, you know, with the world, with everything. It's like at a drop of a hat, it could change in a heartbeat.
I feel like it's a lot easier to take risks when you are not, I don't know, this sounds kind of pansy to say, but it's like, I don't feel right taking monster risks like that when other people's lives depend on it. You know what I mean? Like my best friends work for me and they've been here for 15 years or whatever. And I could right now be like, you know what? I'm going to buy another warehouse space, or I'm going to do this second location and I'm going to put all this in there. But then, you know, when times get tight or a pandemic happens or something, I'm struggling to put money into the account to pay their payroll. And the last thing I want to do is be like, oh, I just thought, you know, I would, you know, build this other thing or do this thing or whatever. And it's like, I don't have the money. We have to shut down. I'd rather be like, you know what, we're comfortable. Things are good. Everyone's making a good living. And if I get an excessive year where I have a bunch of money saved up, then I'll use that money to where I'm not taking as big of a risk to, you know, it's like more of a calculated risk than just like, you know what, fuck it.
Like a taco truck or something.
Like I said, yeah, like I could do it. Well, I know a taco truck would destroy. Like I know that's easy money right there. Which I've actually thought of doing before, to be honest. My sister is like a really good cook, and she went to like culinary school and stuff. She never pursued that career. She's like a manager of another business or whatever. But I've always thought like buying a taco truck and just being the investor, you know what I mean? Like we could do really good marketing. I could have designers make really cool shit and like do all the branding for everything. And then just have her be the chef in the food truck. Be like, hey, I got a job for you if you want it. You can run this food truck and we split the profits, whatever. I still want to do that. I think it would be awesome to do like a barbecue taco food truck or something and just drive it around town. But
we tried talking to our daughters into doing that, like right out of high school. Like, hey, we'll do this for, you know, my one daughter, is it that one or the other one? I don't know. Either way, they wanted to.
You can't keep track of all your daughters.
I've got 4 daughters, man. Yeah. 21, 20, 18, and 3. So yeah, but we're like, hey, you know, she's vegan. She's like, there's no good vegan places around here. We got to go up to Milwaukee or Madison or Rockford or Chicago. I said, just fucking do it. Just open up a little vegan shop. People are going to travel to it if that's what they eat, you know. Just do small little sandwiches and, you know, panini press, vegan truck. I said, you go to festivals, you're young, do it.
The funny thing is some of the best food I've ever had, or some of the best like things on like Instagram or whatever that are showing off, you know, the secret spot, whatever. They're almost always like a food truck or like a hole in the wall place of like one lady in the back, like making the special meal. And it's like, there's a line a mile long where, hey, we're sold out at noon or something. I don't know. I need to figure out how to make that work for t-shirts is what I need to do, I think.
Well, it's funny you say that. I was actually going to, last year, I was going to buy a trailer and convert it to a DTF trailer where we assembled t-shirts like it's a burrito. And so basically like have this whole experience and you would take it to like conventions and kind of anywhere. And then people go up and they're like, yeah, I want a number 1 size large, you know, and then in the back, you know, you get a ticket, you know, a guy writes you a ticket, hands it. And then in the back, they're just pressing the shirts and then they roll it up as a burrito and then they hand it out the window. And then, you have the whole experience. We've been contemplating doing that because we're trying to get more into, comic conventions and things like that. But it could work for breweries. It could work for, a myriad of things. So, yeah.
I've thought about doing stuff like that a lot of times through the years. And the funny thing is I'll do the research. I'll get all this inspiration together. There's a bunch of stuff like that. Like with live printing, we've done live printing for a really long time. And in reality, I know enough people and have enough connections with things, or I have the know-how to fully commit to that and be like, oh, we're going to be like the next. I would never be the next because they're amazing, like Family Industries or Hit and Run or, any of these other places that do this stuff. But it's like, I could do it. I could make a go at it and I could. But then I look at it and I'm like, that would literally consume me. That would be a thing that I would have to be like, all right, well, Upstate is running itself. It's got management. Right. My new thing is to do this live screen printing thing. And I'm going to have to be the one flying to all the events for the first 2 years, 3 years, whatever. And then I'm going to have to hire all these people who I feel like can manage it. And then that thing might take off or whatever. But that's the thing, is it's a whole nother commitment of doing it. And I don't know if I'm wrong. Like, I don't know if I'm micromanaging in that way of I need to be involved to a degree, but I do feel like if it's going to be my voice and my company, that I need to at least be the one to do the research and get it started and then hand it off. Because that's how I've always done things here. It's like, okay, we're going to get into fulfillment. Or we're going to get into this or live printing or this outbound thing. It's like, I need to be the one to figure it out and do the process and then hand it off to someone capable and be like, okay, you put your spin on this, but this is the meat and potatoes. Like, this is how this ran, or how I've made this somewhat work.
Right.
So I've been wanting to make a satellite location in Ithaca near me for forever. But now I'm like, I know I would have to be the one to drive to Ithaca every morning to get the place going, get it started and whatever. And it's like, I'm not at that point where I can leave, but again, since COVID, it's kind of like, now that seems like a financial risk I don't need to dive into. So I don't know. To answer your question, Nate, the long version, I'm skittish as hell right now. Like, I want to get back to the place where I have plenty of money in my savings account, the shop's running, everybody's happy, and I say that to a degree. Like, obviously there's always going to be bumps in the road, but I just want to be comfy again to where I'm like, all right, let me work on the next project. But right now I don't feel like I can work on the next project because we'll have that's what I was asking Jeff in the beginning, is like the last 2-3 weeks we were slamming. We were like, oh, fuck yeah, summer's back. Like, we're back, baby. Yeah. And then like this last week was slow. Like, I don't know why. No reason at all. It's been sunny and warm and good. And it, like, orders trickled in this week. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why is this happening? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
That's a pre-COVID Dylan talking, though, because, I think for us, it's just it's always been kind of like that. You know what I mean? Where it's like, you're busy for no reason, you're slow for no reason, other than the winter, other than, December, January, February. But at least for me, that's how it's been. It always just does.
Yeah, but the problem is you can't project anything. You have no idea. Like I said, if I wanted to buy a piece of equipment, I would do the math and be like, okay, I can afford X per month. I know that, from February to November, my funds should look roughly like this. And then I know that the surplus from these months being busy, I can put in an account and I can ride myself through December, January, February. And I will be good. I can make payments 12 months a year. I'm going to be good. But what I can't do is know 2 weeks are going to be great. 1 week's going to be shit. 2 weeks are going to be shit. 1 week's going to be good. Like, this thing, no, I can't fucking plan for that. So what I'm doing now is, what the mentality here is lean and mean. Let's get it done. If we have a busy 2 weeks in a row, we're going to grind it out. Or like Jeff said, we're going to work fucking double shifts. We're going to do what we're going to do to get it done for 2 weeks, because I don't know if the week after that is going to be the same. Because the week after that, we might be sending people home at 3:00. Like, the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, I think I remember texting you or messaging you it was at some point last year, because I don't know what happened with us last year, but it was January through October. We didn't have a break at all. And we were just moving. And I think I messaged you just saying, like, would you rather keep everybody busy. The staff that you have, keep everybody busy, and just, you know, have plenty of work? Or would you start looking at, you know, bringing people in and helping offset that work? And, you know, I think you responded, just keep it busy. And that's exactly what the mentality that we've been doing ever since. And, you know, I've hiring new people to fill positions. It just doesn't, it's not what I'm interested in doing. I'm filling spots that are needed. But looking back at how last year went for us, I've definitely recognized where things can happen at either a later moment, or somebody else can pick up, you know, here and there. And things have definitely changed for us. Yeah.
The funny thing is with you, Jeff, is like, I am a bit jealous of what you've got going on, because we were you for a good amount of time. We basically were the printer that was doing all this, like, you know, movie stuff and comic book stuff. And we had really hard in the paint. Like, that was our niche for like so long. And we still do a lot of that stuff, but like being in business for this long, you have ups and downs and ebbs and flows with different markets. You know what I mean? Like when we first started, it was like a ton of bands, and then it was a lot of like, I don't know, corporate-y stuff and contractors, and not contract printing, but like, you know, tradespeople. And then it was like, okay, we're getting really big into this like movie and comic book stuff. And we did that for a really long time. And again, we still do all of those markets that we've done. It's just not like, this is our fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like, you are that thing right now. Like every time I go on Instagram or any other thing and I'm looking through and I'm like, you know, I still do it myself. Like, I'll be on the fucking toilet or something. I'll be in bed and I'm looking through like, oh, I'd like to hit this person up and like see if they want to do merch. Well, I'll go through and I'll be like, oh, you know, like horror slasher movie, blah, blah, blah page. And I'll go to it and I'm like, followed by EverGood. And I'm like, motherfucker, like, can't ask them because I can't fucking step on friends' toes. And it's like that with all of them now. I'm like, oh, cool. This one looks really cool. You know, something horror video, and I'll look at it and I'm like, fucking Jeff's doing it. God damn it. It's like,
we definitely have found our niche of that space, for sure. It wasn't something that we started off with. I printed my own stuff, which is more fantasy type stuff.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And I preach that on here all the time, is like, do what you know. Like, you are like, we're friends because we like similar things. Like with me, the whole like movie thing and like, you know, Lord of the Rings and like all this other stuff, like, you know that, and you know how to print it because you do that for yourself, but you can also nerd out with the customers you have because you know those things. And that's what gets you in that market. That gets you to be, you know, like, I'm gonna bring up Tyler again. Is like, he's really big in the bicycle space, like the you know, whatever mountain bike stuff, and it's because he likes doing it himself. Like, he can go to these bike events and I can call him and he'll talk to me on the road, and he's like stoked to be driving across the United States to go to an event because he likes doing that shit. You know, he likes to bike. He likes to go to these events. He's excited to be there. If he was just a screen printer who fell into this market of doing bikes, he would fucking hate driving across the country to go to this event, sit in the desert for 4 days and sling t-shirts to these people he doesn't really care about or know. He loves doing it. So like you being like, oh, I'm doing Dogma shirts right now. Like, I would love that. I'd be like, hell yeah. Like, love this movie. Everyone in the shop is printing a shirt for themselves, even though they're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, it's this whole thing. Like, that's what I look forward to every day. And that's why I say I'm jealous, is like, I like printing those because they're usually pretty good money because there are a lot of colors and there are a lot of add-ons and this and that. But I also like printing that because I'm like, oh, I printed an alien shirt. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is rad. I get to have this and I can wear it and I made it. You know what I mean? Like, I have all these bootleg shirts that I buy from other people like you or whatever. And, I wear them and I go to a thing. They're like, oh, did you print that? And like a little piece of my heart breaks when I'm like, no, like, I bought it from a friend. but I don't know. It's awesome. Like, I'm fucking stoked that that's what you fell into and that's what you're doing. And it's really cool to do that. And there, there's some other friends that I have, like Lancaster Print House and all these other people that you'll message them and be like, how you doing? They're like, wow, we're busy as hell right now. I'm like, what the fuck are you printing that you're so busy with? He's like, bootleg stuff. And it's like bootleg is not slowing down right now. Like, I feel like people doing all these movies and all this other merch. It's like, dude, this shit is taking off hard.
It's still such a big, part of our business, and not necessarily the bootleg stuff, but the people who started as, I guess bootleg, who are going legit. Like there's a lot of clients of ours who are, well,
they eventually get into the licensing and they get
that's
into,
what it is. Yeah. And those just, open up other avenues of wholesale. And it's just for us, it's been a snowball effect, seeing the 36 piece orders turn into 100 piece orders, turn into 500 piece orders because of that, agreement that they all have. And then once they have that license, then their option to, hey, do you want to do this one? Because when they see that they can sell those things, then it's like, they want to offer more to them, whereas if they're only selling 30 pieces, a lot of the people won't go for licensing for, if they're just going to make 30, 50 pieces, it's just not worth it for them. And then, but yeah, it's awesome to see the growth and see there is no slowdown. I don't see it, at least. And I just see more and more brands popping up, and it's awesome. But yeah, there are some that are, definitely new to how the whole thing should work,
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is it's really, you got to look back. A lot of times we have to take a step back as printers too, and be like, what are we doing this for? Like, what does the t-shirt mean? You know what I mean? It's like, think about yourself. Like me, I have an alien shirt on. Like, why would I be wearing this alien shirt? And it's like, people buy clothes or fashion because they want to show off what they're into. Like, it's a walking billboard of like, this, like if I'm dressed the way I'm dressed, I got black hat, I got tattoos, I got alien shirt, I got whatever Vans I got on or something. Like, if I walk down the road, like, a lot of people would look at me and be like, oh, I can basically tell what kind of guy that is. It's the same with people being like, oh, he's got a big yellow truck. Like, obviously he's this or whatever, or, whatever. And it's kind of, the nostalgia thing is huge, because people will walk into a store like Box Lunch or Hot Topic or, whatever. And I don't know if you've been to the mall lately, but all those stores don't sell anything near what they used to sell when we were kids. Now it's just like wall to wall nostalgia items. It's like, oh, this entire area is, the movie It. And then there's this thing and this. It's just nothing but people walking in being like, I love that movie, or I love this band or something. I'm going to buy this, 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 and this. And it's like, you are solely in the market right now that is just people being like, I would buy that shirt. Like, there was you need to just do this every so often.
I know, that's what I thought I was doing, but not well enough.
There was a time a little while ago, and this goes to show, to like prove my point, is like, I could make any shirt I want. I could do anything. There was a period where you were doing, I don't know, like 10 different Lord of the Rings shirts. I bought every single one.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even need it. Like, there could be one that's very similar to the other one, and I'm like, fuck, it's another Lord of the Rings shirt. Like, I have to buy it. Like, because I can't find these anywhere else. I can't, whatever. I was like, I have to own these. So now I have all of them. Like, I felt obligated to buy that. So it's the same with any of these other shirts. Like, you should make them to be like, well, I have to have this. Like, I'm into biking. I'm into this. I'm into something. And it's like, oh, there's merch that goes along with it. That's really cool. Like, I have to own that and wear that, so that when I walk out into public, vulnerable wise, people will know I'm into biking, or I'm into alien, or whatever. So I don't know. You've definitely like got that market going.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you think that's changed? I mean, the 90s are back. There's no question with that.
Yeah.
Hard. As far as, dude, it's the stuff my daughters are wearing. It's like, I had that. I had those pants. What are you doing? But they don't know any of the songs. So, name 3 songs.
Well, the funny thing is I feel like there was a period of us growing up where, screen printers might not have had as good of a shot as they have now with the nostalgia or the 80s or 90s thing happening, because I feel like every kid in school that had to look cool was wearing like a Hollister shirt with a puka necklace or something. It's like nobody cares about other brands or other whatever, as long as the shirt says Hollister on it, like you're in or something. You know what I mean? Like there was obviously the kids who did that, and then there were the kids who just wore the band merch. Like those were the 2 options. There wasn't like all these other, oh, I'm into this, or this is a social media. Like there's these stupid shit that fucking what's it called? It's like the toilet guy, Skibbity Toilet or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like
shit
like that happens on the internet, and now there's like whole like branding things. Or my kids were at it's like Target or something.
Target, yeah, they got.
There's like a fucking toilet, and it's like now any little thing that happens on social media turns into shirts you can sell. Like back then, it was like, oh no, some movie I watched had Jennifer Love Hewitt was wearing a Hollister shirt or something, and now it's like everyone has to have a Hollister shirt on. And it's like now any little movie or any little thing, someone can be like, oh, I'm gonna make a shirt and sell it, and I can push it on the internet, and people will buy it.
Do you think that's more of DTF being so anybody can get that? So they're just pressing these shirts at home and giving them to their friends and turning it into
any decorating method. I feel like,
for sure.
It's like Jeff was saying, like these brands can start off making, like a Skibbity Toilet shirt or whatever the hell it is. They can make 12 DTF. And then that brand grows, and then they're like, okay, I need 100. And you're like, all right, well, let's talk about screen printing this instead. And then, okay, I need 500. Let's talk about screen printing this, but we're adding neck tags and we're adding folding and bagging and labeling. And then eventually it turns into a whole thing. So it's like any decoration method for us is awesome as long as they're going to us. Then I don't really care.
Exactly. Yeah, we see a lot of stuff coming through, and like Dylan, you've talked about it, and you see people who have $1,000 to spend, and you're just like, you've never released a shirt before. Maybe let's dial it back. Let's maybe do a pre-order here. Let me make a DTF sample for you. Take your product photos, send those out into the world, and let's see how they do. If you sell 10, then let's just DTF 10 of them. It doesn't matter. Those 10 people, like really but if it blows up and you sell 50, then great, because you were able to make that sample for them. And that's what we do a few times for people to help them out, because they use the pre-order model and, just to get it in their hands and, so they can post real photos rather than a mock-up. And, because everybody's still trying to use Instagram like it's 2018 again, so.
I mean, I'm super guilty of this, so I can't judge too many people. It's just like, I've been printing and in this industry for, all these years. And, I got to a point where I was like, oh, I kind of want to start like a brand that I'm into. And then I started this Tea Club thing, and I was like, I really like chicken wings, or I really like this thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm just going to print 100 of them. I'm going to do 30 ladies sizes and do the whole thing. And I'm going to do neck tags, and they're going to be on this shirt. And then I'm going to do 80 unisex comfort colors tees, and I'm going to print them this way, do neck tags, buy all these stickers and labels and everything to make it really cool without any market research. Like I didn't do 2 and post them and be like, oh, you should try this. I was like, nah, dude, I'm going to, like, even though I own a shop and I can print these myself, it still costs a lot of money. Like I still bought all the blanks. I still printed them. I did the best printing method I could do. And I bought all these tags and everything else. And then I found out, oh yeah, I have to market this, and I have to push this, and I have to do this, and I have to get models to wear stuff, and I have to even feel like if people like it, you know what I mean? Like I pay a designer $600 for a design of a buffalo pointing to a chicken wing. like floating above his finger. And I'm like, oh, there's a buffalo wing. Like, I fucking love chicken wing. I would buy this shirt. And then I put it on the internet and it's like, no interest. Nobody cares. And it's like, now I have 100 of these.
Yeah.
And I have like all the stickers to go with it. And I have all the packaging and I have everything else. If I really kept pushing it and I had the time, that's kind of like we were talking about before with like the food truck. If I had the time to just be like, okay, I'm going to dedicate 3 hours a day to this clothing brand, eventually, yeah, it would probably work out and sell. But like I find out, I have to be honest with myself at some point of like, I don't have the time and dedication and I don't have the interest to be like making fucking TikToks of me, someone dancing in a shirt to like get a shirt sold. Like I don't give a fuck at all. So the funny thing is like in business, especially in this industry, is like a lot of times you spend a bunch of money or take a risk and find out it's a fucking dud. But the thing is the truth of it is I think at some point you just need to be honest with yourself of like, yeah, cool. I learned something though. I learned like, I don't want to have a clothing brand. I learned, I mean, Jeff, you know this too, like yours was successful, but still it's like at some point in your head, you're like, is it worth me making all these like custom pins or is my time better spent working at EverGood merch? Like I just got 10 new orders that made me $20,000, or do I spend 8 hours meticulously working on a pin and I might make $2,000 or whatever it is? You know what I mean? It's like, that's where I looked at, I have shelves of all this stuff that I made and I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pivot and I'm going to just put this on the Upstate Merch website as samples. So now I have all this stuff and I'm not really pushing Tea Club anymore because it's a thing I realized I don't have time and effort to put into. Now I'm just going to, anytime someone asks for a sample of a discharge print or a water-based print or, just a cool vintage tee or something for Upstate, I'm just going to send them one of those. Are they going to get a chicken wing shirt or they're going to get a fucking New Balance shoe that when you walk out in the sun, it turns green like it got grass stains on it?
I thought that one was amazing though. That was a great use.
Those shirts, the thing is those shirts would do well if I had time to push them. You know what I did with the grass stain shirt? I did one post on Instagram and it was just a shirt on the floor or something. Like if I posted that shirt a bunch and put money behind it around Father's Day, I bet I would sell a shitload of those shirts, but I just don't have the time. Even Christina came up with an idea, 2 months ago or something, of this pizza place I have in town of being like, oh, you should make new merch for them just to drop off, like don't go crazy, but like make them like 50 shirts, make a cool design that you like, put their branding in it and drop it off to them. And she had this one that people have done, but it's like the legalized marinara or whatever, and like make a cool shirt that had that. And she's like, you should drop it off to them at 420. So it'll be this whole thing that like goes together, like legalized marinara, drop it off 420 or whatever. It got to be like 4 days before. And I was like, yeah, I still have that as my note. She's like, that's Friday, right? And I'm like, fuck. Like I don't have time to do this. Like I just, and that's what all these side projects end up being to me is I'm still focused and I'm still making a lot of money and I'm still doing a lot of things with this one project I'm working on. Why am I trying to do all these offshoot things?
Right.
Like they sound like cool ideas, but really I'm just wasting time and I'm wasting money. So I don't fucking know.
I work with this entrepreneur class for this local high school, and these kids send me their design. They pick out samples. I teach them the process, and they sell the shit out of these. But it comes down to their marketing everything. They've got all the time in the world to market to all their friends. And it's like, Jesus, if I only had that time to do that. That's what I tell my Brooke at the shop. I'm like, come up with something and you can push it. And you're young, you have all this TikTok shop shit. Like, go do it. Like, make that money, just don't go anywhere else to print it. But sorry,
she starts sending it out.
Yeah,
no, I mean, just going off of what you're saying, I actually gave, so we have a new hire that we actually, we started a second shift, an evening shift here. And we have a new hire here that I gave basically free reign to our social media. And we're going to start doing that a bit more because going back to like our merch side where we were our own brand and things, the reason why I kind of fell off is exactly what you're saying, Dylan, is I felt like I was half-assing everything. Like I wasn't fully committed to it. The only thing fully I was committed was to this shop. And then I would print a couple t-shirts for myself. And so it just got to the point where I just felt like I was giving bad customer service. I was, doing all of these things that if it was the only thing I was doing, I would be great at. But since I was doing a myriad of other things, I was slacking on a lot of the other stuff. So one thing that I've realized like this last year is, and especially, running social media myself, is people don't open Instagram and go EverGood Supply. They're not looking for me. They have to be told that I exist. And the only way that people are going to know that we exist is by continuing to create content, whether it's stuff that's already been done, the simplest of things. Like she just made a video. Our new hire, her name's AJ. She's fucking awesome. She just made a video just of, spreading palette adhesive on your platen and like not slopping it everywhere. Like that's just some little B-roll that we're going to add into a video. And, we're going to start making commercials, but they're going to showcase, videos or t-shirts that we're printing. And we're just going to kind of turn our social media into this like continuous commercial that we're making new videos so we can show people that we exist. And that's the problem. That's my big issue with social media is I want it to be like 2018 where I just post something and everybody sees it. The problem that I've had with social media over the last year is I've gotten so busy that I haven't really worked hard on nurturing new sales. And so that's what we are like kind of working toward and letting our evening shift take a few hours and work on new social media stuff for us.
Yeah, I don't know, the social thing, again, same with me. Like I used to do all of it, and I got to the point where I'm like, am I going to just sit on here all day and like fish for stuff and make comments and this and the other thing? Mm-hmm. Or am I going to work on the business? And I found out that like I was too consumed. Like that's a whole nother monster. I feel like like social stuff is an addiction, and it's like this whole thing. And again, like I love it. I still get inspiration from it. I'm still on it to a degree. I really try to stay off of it as much as possible. It is nice now to be like, okay, I had a whole day doing work, or I had a this or that, and I just need time to shut my brain off for a minute. That's when I find it most entertaining for me to get on Instagram or TikTok or something and save some things. And obviously I'm the one on like Shirt Show, like commenting back or posting things or whatever. So like I take time out of the day to do those things. But what I try not to do is just sit there and like fucking doom scroll all day long. But like if I need that like hour at home to just be like, I'm just going to look for funny memes and send them to my friends, then I'll try to do that. But I don't know. Yeah, I think just focusing on the brands and whatever else, like you just got to really decide if it's worth it for you. And you kind of brought up a thing that was the original inspiration for us doing this episode was, we're to take a step back, is you over the last couple of years kind of stayed lean, made things work in the space that you're in. And then me and you had this discussion of, do I just hire more people and get a bigger space? Do I do this and get everything to work within this 9 to 5? And I was pushing to be like, nah, dude, try to find ways to be more lean and mean with what you're at. And then you found a good hire. I mean, you kind of teased it for a second, but like, someone came to you or you scouted them or what, where you were like, hey, let's do a second shift.
Yeah. So what happened was I lost my lead printer at the beginning of the year. He's moved on to bigger, better things, going to college, just doing his life stuff. And
that's not better than working at EverGood. That's bullshit.
And so it made me take a step back, because it's like, I put everything with my lead printer, and I was just like, you're running the show. I'm going to run the business. I'm going to generate sales. I'm going to do the front end work where you don't have to worry about if we're getting another job. Well, out of the blue, not out of the blue, but it kind of spun, kind of caught me off guard at the timing of it all, which made me have to pivot my business and what I wanted from out of the shop. And so what happened ultimately, my brain just went, okay, it's just going to be me. I'm going back to production. I'm doing my own thing. I've got 2 part-time guys. I'm doing everything myself. And
real quick though, isn't that funny? Like, Nate, you have to do this too. We literally just had this discussion before I got on this podcast. I had a meeting with Brian and Bill about just shop stuff or whatever. And, they check in with me and they give me the hard, truths about stuff. You know what I mean? They sit me down and they're like, this is happening. What are we going to do about it? And again, a lot of times they come to me with ideas or whatever, but as the boss, I have to make kind of like final say things, or, even things that I'm doing wrong. They're like, hey, you're doing this and we need to fix this. Like, what can we do? But I had a discussion with Bill where I was like, with sales, I worked so hard for the last couple of years, especially since COVID, to be like, oh, we're gonna do outbound, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Spent all this money, put all this stuff together, and I realized that the people I had here aren't outbound people; they're inbound people. They're inbound order takers and customer service, and that's not a negative thing to say about anybody. It's just that's a role. You know what I mean? Like that's the role that they have. That's what they do. So, and Bill always does this too with production. Someone quits or leaves or this thing happens or whatever. He's just like, what, fuck it, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? And that's just him as a person, where he's like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Like, as long as it's whatever it's going to take. He comes to me, he's like, I'll work, double shifts, or I'll come in on Saturdays or whatever. I'm like, dude, I super appreciate what you're saying. And like, I love you for that so much, but like, you will burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. Like, I know you want this to work and you want this thing, but like, I don't want that for you. But I said the same thing with the sales stuff. I was like, what I'm doing recently is I'm working on growing the business and doing this, but like in my, I'm going to say air quotes, free time, I'm doing sales. Like, I'm reaching out to new people. I'm, connecting things. And I'm not just saying big picture things, which is what I was working on. I'm talking like, I'll go to a pizza place and be like, who does your shirts? Like, I want to do your business. And it's like, that's not something I was doing, but that's what I'm saying is it gets to the point where you're just like, fuck it, I'll do it. Like, how many of us print shop owners are saying that once a month, once a week, once a day,
every day,
fuck it, I'll do it
every day,
every day.
And it's even coming from construction, working with guys that just could not pick up the slack. You're like, fuck it, just get away from me and I'll just go.
I'll do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's even like
that's why you go by construction sites and you see one guy in the pit and 5 guys up there, because the guy in the pit's the one guy that's like, fuck it, I'll do it.
I have this, even when the girls were younger, when it came to mow the lawn, it's like, it's your turn. And then they'd be out there crying on the riding lawnmower and running over every fucking thing in the yard. And I'm like, just stop. Just go inside. I will fucking do it. But now that I am getting older with employees at the shop, I'm like, figure it out. Like, I'm not a very good hand holding person. I'll get you to the finish line. But if I have to do it for you, then why am I paying you to be here?
But then it's also at what point is that manipulation as well? You know what I mean? Like, you can pretend all day long that they're like, oh, I can't do this, I can't, whatever. It's like your daughter's running shit over. They're like, well, fuck it, dad's making me mow the lawn. I'm not going around that. I'm not going to get off the mower and pick that up. I'm just going to mow right over it. And when he's watching, he's going to get pissed and be like, oh, whatever. It's like the marriage thing or whatever of like, oh, my husband doesn't know how to fold clothes or doesn't know how to load the dishwasher or whatever. It's like, he knows fucking full well how to load the dishwasher and fold those clothes. He's just acting like he can't do it because he doesn't want to do it. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like I get that a lot with certain things of like, oh, well, I can't do this, or I'm not good at this, or whatever. And I don't have anything necessarily to point fingers at right now. I'm just saying in general, like, do you have to do it, or can it be a difficult conversation of, you know, this is how you can do this, and this is how you can get through this. Like, the hard part is getting rid of the anger and sitting back and being like, because a lot of times it's us as the owner too, of like, did we train them well? Did we do our job? Because I find that I'm guilty of that a lot, where I'll, you know,
for sure,
come up with a project or say, hey, I need you to do this thing. And they're fumbling their way through it or whatever. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. But in reality, did I even like give them context? Did I like train them well? Did I give them all the resources I could give them so that they could be successful? Most of the time, no. I was just like, hey, figure this out. And they're like, well, I don't fucking, like, I wasn't in the mindset you were in. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in a mindset of like, oh yeah, we should try this new thing or do this thing. And then I'm like, yeah, I could do this, but they're not. Their head was in a totally different space. And I'm like, hey, you figure this out now. And they might not be successful. And it's because I didn't give them anything. I was just like, okay, you figure it out.
Brooke did that today. She's like, I know you do a lot of shit for your buddies and stuff, shirts and stuff, but can you have some information on here so I know what the fuck I'm doing? And I'm like, just fuck it. I'll do it. Just don't worry. I'll do it. You know, but then she's calling me out as and that's something I have to get better at doing. Yes, I'll have all the information and print specs and stuff, but it's like
the reason why this is fresh for me is this was part of the Dylan getting yelled at outside conversation that we just had was, you know, hey, the girls are saying that now that you're getting sales again, like you're going out and getting people, whatever. I'm getting the sale. Like, in my opinion, I'm doing the work of getting the sale, and I get it here. I might get 2 or 3 emails deep with the client to where I know they're going to order. I'm taking that order in that email and I'm forwarding it to one of the girls here that are doing inbound. You know,
I have no idea
my
what you're
brain
saying.
is right. My brain is saying, okay, this is good to go. Here you go. Well, Brian and Bill are sitting me down and they're like, hey, we're hearing, you know, they're trying to tell me softly, you know what I mean? They're trying to be like a friend, but also like, you know, we're hearing, you know, people are saying that you're just dumping orders onto them where they have no idea what's happening.
I'm guilty.
And it's true. That's why I said, I was like, I am guilty of this. Like, I understand. I will make some kind of doc or something, or I'll make a format in an email where it's like, this is what we've talked about. This is the artwork they've already sent me. This is like basically all the information they need. I was like, I 100% own up to this. I understand what's happening. I just thought they could read back through the threads of what we talked about and they have the information they need. But I understand how that could suck or not be in the mindset I was in when I had this conversation. But yeah, it's the same thing of like, I need to get them better suited to do their job than to just dump shit on their lap and be like, hope you can figure it out. And then when they don't figure it out, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why didn't you do this? And it's like, dude, I gave them a shitty deal. Like, that's on me.
Well, lately I've just been telling customers or even my friends, I'm like, just talk to Brooke. Talk to Brooke, or even customers in the past. Like, is Nate in? No, he's in the back. Whatever. What can I help you with? Well, I'll just come back when I can talk to him. And I'm like, I need to stop that. I need to, you know. And then I'll call the customer, walk up there, and say, hey, this is my daughter Brooke. She knows what she's doing. I'm doing shit in the back. So then there's no miscommunication, or she's missing stuff, or I'm not telling her stuff, and then it turns into just fucking I'll do it. And then, you know, the guys in the back printing, they're like, there's no fucking print specs on this. What am I supposed to do? You know, and it's like, fuck, God, I did it again. You know, it's just,
I do that all the time where like I take over something or just what you were saying, like doing a favor for a friend or something. And I set up the mock-up and invoice, but I do it half-assed where I just write TBD for the colors. Or, you know, you just kind of throw it on. They're like, they'll figure it out. Or, you know, roughly, or write measure. You know what I mean? When it's like how big you want it, you just like measure it, figure it out, or whatever. And then when it goes to production, they're like, what the fuck is this garbled mesh?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't how you were the one who set these ideas. Like, you were the one that set these rules and you just broke all of them. Like, how is this helping anybody?
they kind of cornered me too, everybody at the shop, because we have our meetings and stuff. And they're like, you're setting this process up to be more efficient, and you're the one that is fucking everything up by not following the process you're setting. And I'm like, I'm going to eat crow. I know I am. I'm sorry. Right. I'll do better next time. But
this is
it's
Ryan
tough.
Kasparian's thing of sticking your finger in the fan. You know what I mean? Like, just don't.
It's tough going from being the owner, operator, everything, and then hiring people. I'm sure, Jeff, doing everything. And then all of a sudden you have employees that you have to get all the shit up in here, out here. And it's like, sometimes you don't have time for that shit. Sometimes you don't have time to try to sit there and try to explain everything because it's a rush order, or they're picking it up at 4. And it's just like, fuck it, I'll do it, but then you're burning yourself out, and we just got to take a step back and let it happen.
Well, the thing with that too, and Jeff I want to tie this into your person, is just like what I found over the years is like most of the time, I would say, is we need to give somebody this task or new hire or something. We need to give them just like a guideline. Not like like every step of the way, because what's going to happen is this is their domain now. Like this is their task they do every day. They're going to find a new way to do it, or their way to do it. And it's 9 times out of 10 probably going to be better than what you were going to tell them anyway.
Yep.
Is like they are in this space. It's like now I could be in my office and just be like, I'm bored, and walk out to the dark room and be like, oh, you know what? We should do this here. We should put this thing here. Like me and Christina witnessed this not that long ago. We went and visited this this facility that does, massive, like it's almost like an Amazon where they, ship all these stuff. It's this whole company. Well, anyway, we were touring the facility, and we get up to this spot where there's a chute that does like the craft paper into the box, like it crumbles it up. So when they're shipping stuff, and the guy who was giving us a tour, like knows all this stuff, he's the guy who knows everything. Like, he walks up, he's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, why is this angled here? It should be angled here. And he's like, and he shows us like how this box things works, or whatever. And then we kind of take 5 steps back, and the guy who works that position walked back up, and he's like, what the fuck? And he like moved it back to where it was. And then you see him like filling boxes, and you're like, he is so good at filling these, like knows exactly what he's doing. And it's like this other guy just walked over and was like, that's not how this goes. It goes here. And it's like, nah, dude, this guy has it specifically where he needs it to be, because that's how he can most efficiently do that job. And it's like, if we just as owners keep walking up and moving shit and changing shit and like doing what we think, and then we walk back to our office, it's like we're just screwing it all up. Like let the people who are in that position all day long do it the way that they do it, because it's what works for them and it's the most efficient. And I think the scary thing, like Jeff, we were talking about, is like, you need to hire. And I think the scary part for anybody who wants to do a second shift is, well, I don't have it. It's not me doing it. I literally need to trust this person's going to do all the things that they're going to do. But again, that whole second shift might run totally different than how you run first shift. Yep. But the truth is, they're still getting shirts out, and it's at the quality you want it to be. It's what it needs to be. Yep. But they might put boxes over here instead of where you had boxes over here, or, all these different things. And it's still producing shirts. It's just not the Jeff way. It's the EverGood way, or whatever. Right. So how are you finding that to be with your second shift person? Like, are you just giving them the reins and being like, hey, figure it out?
So basically, kind of taking a step back, when I first hired her on, there was zero intention for an evening shift. Like it hadn't even come up until the second interview. And, because realistically, when she came in, I guess AJ, she was following us on Instagram, and I think I posted something on a story that, hey, if anybody's local, I need some help, or something, like, whatever. And then she messaged us saying, hey, are you guys hiring? And I was like, I don't know if I am or not, but I mean, if you want to send your resume, you can. And then I got her resume, and yeah, so we had an interview and that went well. And then we did a second interview and she was the one who was like, hey, so right now I work an evening shift. Is that something maybe we can talk about doing? And I was like, yeah, we could talk about it. Like kind of brushed it off, because I really didn't want to. And I honestly, it was for exactly what you just said, because I couldn't be there to control the quality that's going out that Jeff would approve, and, but, so she came in for a few weeks and worked with me and we worked very well. And I'm just like, why wouldn't I entertain a second shift? What
right.
the worst thing that can happen, 60 shirts get misprinted and we got to reprint them. Okay. And then, it's like, okay, I'll give you, 3 jobs, here's one color, 2 color, 4 color, whatever. And all of them are getting done and to the clients, and the clients love them. And that made me realize, like, wow, I was spending a lot of time on labor in the wrong area. So going back to last year when I had, 5 people in the shop doing the work of 2 people, I mean, I'm looking at adding the second shift of it's just one other person running for an additional 8 hours. I'm getting more work done throughout the week than I was had I have 5 people, even 4 people right now. And it just makes more sense for our small shop. I mean, and I'm sure this can scale, and having a second shift is not a new idea, but seeing it happen for us and seeing an extra 7 to 10 to 12 jobs go out a week for us is huge, being the size that we are.
Well, also that second shift being a little bit smaller means there's nobody else in the way. You know what I mean? Like they can just come in and do, as long as everything's prepped, they're not waiting on somebody else or whatever. They're just grab and go, like, okay, everything's ready.
And that's been a big change for me personally. Is it's putting more work on me, which is not a bad thing at all, but being prepped and having that foresight to have that second shift ready to go, because the last thing you want is somebody to walk in going like, hey, I'm here to take over for you. And you're like, fuck, I don't have screens burnt, And so like, and that's another thing, we're relying on art services right now to help us really prep for the next day, not just the next day. Now, actually we're prepped 2 weeks out right now. And that's been really great.
Can you dive into that a little bit more? Like what did you end up doing?
So we've been toying with the idea of bringing on GraphX to the shop for art services. So we had to wait till basically it's almost like an equipment purchase. I wanted to make sure that I utilized the money spend enough that I wasn't cutting myself short for the separate or for the a la carte option that GraphX offers. So I waited until I hit that threshold. And honestly, I don't think I ever really hit that threshold. More of what it was, again, it's buying back my time and utilizing them to help us with getting proofs approved weeks in advance and going straight into separations and having them handle the client side of, hey, this is approved. Let's go straight into separations. Let's get this set up on the artboard. So when we walk in tomorrow, I have 4 jobs ready to send to the CTS and we're good to go. And so we've just started using them. We're literally in our first week right now, but having that aspect of our business now going there is now keeping our evening shift ahead that much more and our day shift ready to go. So like as of right now, I have work prepped up until the end of next week, which when normally I would be like, fuck, I got to get to I got to get to the computer. I need these separations rushed through. Like I've never been to a point where I can say, yeah, I'm 2 weeks out on like prepped work ready to go that's approved. Like never.
I feel like that alone is such a I don't know, like it's such a thing to have. Like it's such a sigh of relief and a peace of mind to be like, it's almost like the purchase of like a CTS from film where you're like, I don't know if I need this. I don't know if I can afford this purchase. And then you get it and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this so much sooner? Right. And it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, people can have an art department and have a person that can do that, but to have the service that, you know, can alleviate that issue where, again, it boils back down to what we were saying this whole episode so far, basically is like, we need to just get the fuck out of our own way. Like we're all, you know, we're at that stage in our business or whatever, where we're like, well, I can do this. I can do this thing. I can do this thing, you know? And again, that boils back to the meeting I just had where they're like, I feel like you have a lot on your plate and you need to kind of like, is there anybody here that you can hand certain things off to? And I'm kind of like, well, I'm in the early stages of all these things that I'm trying to do where I don't feel right handing it off to somebody because I haven't fully fleshed out what it is I actually want to do with it. But at some point you need to be like, well, your time is better spent doing this task. Like if I was to step back and be like, well, I don't necessarily want to do these little sale things or do, you know, this whatever live print thing or this or the other thing. And I was like, you know what I really want to do? I want to get up in the morning, go for a walk, come to work, sit at my desk, work on the business, like update the website, or I want to go after like big clients that I know are going to be like, okay, you know, we're sending you $1.5 million worth of business a year. Those are the people that I want to be like, all right, well, I have a meeting with them. I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to show them new product. I'm going to talk to them on the phone and whatever. I'm going to make those big clients happy, or I'm going to do whatever I can do for them. Like that's what I would say I want to do daily. Like I want that to be my day. But what it is I come in and I put out this fire, or I work on this little project, or I do this little thing here and there. And then by the time I look at my watch and I'm like, all right, you know, cool. I'm going to work on what I want to work on today. It's 4:30. And it's like, fuck, I have to go home in an hour and I have to make food for my kids and I have to do this thing.
How do you get to that point though? Like what's the answer to that question well, I guess, Jeff's figured it out with outsourcing.
The answer to that question is efficiencies and outsourcing things when you can outsource it, and hand off stuff, delegate stuff to your employees when you can delegate it. Like, again, I feel really comfortable. Like I feel really good about Upstate and where we are in our, you know, life and career and everything, where I can leave for a month if I wanted to, and the shop wouldn't call me. Like the place will run and it'll do what it's going to do. I just, as an owner, get here and I get in my own way. Like I said, I'll walk by something and be like, oh, I want to work on this project, or I need to do this thing, or, oh, this is leaking. I'm going to go fix that. I'm going to deal with this. But it's like, in reality, I need to step back and be like, oh, well, someone-so is perfectly capable of doing this. Like I need to just be like, hey, you do this. But I look at that mentality, like you were saying, Nate, of like, fuck it, I'll just do it. Like whatever. And it's like, I need to stop doing that. I need to just get back in my lane and work on the thing that I need to work on.
Well, it's where your time is most valuable.
Yeah. And it's like, Jeff, like it's such a brave, I won't say brave, but like it's a brave thing to do, to be like, all right, I'm going to have someone run this shop when I'm not here. Like you're like, oh, cool, it's 5. I'm going to go home and I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to do whatever, but the shop's still running and they're just doing it. Like you relinquished that stress and anxiety, and I mean, to a degree, to somebody else.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't go away, but like you at least feel like that's handled. Yeah. You know,
I mean, I walk in and 4 jobs are printed that I wouldn't have gotten those 4 jobs done in that day because I was printing 2 super difficult ones, you know? So out of the day, 6 jobs are crushed. Our clients are happier, you know, I'm happy with, you know, the decision I made, and, you know, I'm letting everybody know, like, this is how I want things to run. You know, this is sick. This is, you know, and just as long as people understand the level of, you know, quality that I expect, you know, which, I mean, being so small, you know, I could easily just go, hey, we need to fix this. We need to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an easy fix because, we're not a churn and burn shop. We're more like, more like a studio, I guess. But, I encourage, take the time, make it right. Don't try and rush through this thing. If it's going to look better with a second spin, do 2 spins on it. I don't care. I would rather it look
policy too.
Yeah. I would rather it look right and to the level of standard that I've grown this place to be than, something get rejected or you question, is that good enough? I don't like good enough. I just want it right, and if I were to open the box, that's what I expect anybody who's printing. If these were your shirts, would you be happy opening this box after you spent $1,200 on these shirts? So, and I think very quickly, everybody being so small, everybody here understands what that is for us here, and that's why we have the customers that we do, and it's awesome. It's awesome to be able to work with the folks that we do and maintain our level of, being so small and lean, I guess.
It's hard to say too, because we always want to grow our companies and all this other stuff. It's like, I hate saying the word small too, because it's like, I feel like you could be the size and do the quality merch you're doing now and do the revenue you're doing now and be happy for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to grow more. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's where I'm at. And that's the decision I had to make a couple of years ago is like, I have 3 autos. I have the amount of employees to run everything I needed to run. I'm honestly happy with the revenue we're making. Everyone's paid well. Everyone has benefits. Like, why don't I just ride this fucking train into oblivion? Like
that's exactly where I'm at.
What is this small, medium, large? Like I'm the fucking shop I want to be.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy where I'm at. Like I don't need to be like, oh, I got to get a new warehouse and I got to get a new thing. And I need 35 more employees. It's like, nah, dude, that's such a headache. Like I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
I mean, if you would ask me when I opened in 2020, having 4 employees to Jeff in 2020, that's me being a huge shop, like it's all relative, I guess, like exactly what you're saying, Dylan. I am happy. I'm extremely happy with the revenue that we have, the customers that we work with, and I don't have the need to be fully booked with tens of thousands of shirts to pay my rent or to pay my bills. And I love the position that we've put ourselves in, and, are staying a nice tight team, of, artisans here, like I really think of everybody here who crafts, who crafts these shirts. Like, they're creating art on these shirts. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we are printing and, it looks amazing as a t-shirt, so when we get these files and we're like, holy shit, this is going to go on a t-shirt. And sometimes I go, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but let's fucking go for it, and then it turns out and you're like, dude, that is some of the best work I think I've ever done. And continuously we're just shocked every time these shirts turn out the way that we want them to. And we get some tough sim process stuff, and we're running an 8 color press. We have 1 8 color press, and some of the work that we're doing, like, I wish I had a 12 or 14 color press, but I love the fact that we are able to achieve what we can with our 8 color press. And I don't want to get any bigger than that. I love where we're at. And I think I know this is the place I want to be. And sick.
I think you're doing great. And Nate, now's a good time to tell you that this episode is actually an intervention for you.
Oh, thanks.
Of how you need to just relinquish all responsibilities to your daughter and step back and just go home and mow the lawn.
I like that. No one else is going to fucking do it. You know?
See, you said, you got into this of like, you had this, construction guy mentality of, I got to do it myself. And all I've learned this whole episode is that we need to fucking take a step back and realize what's important and stay lean and mean and, give the people their, responsibilities and kind of work on what we need to work on. And all I'm hearing is, Nate, you need to let your daughter do it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope she does listen to this and, she knows.
She's like, God damn it.
She knows. She does know, and she's doing good. And now it's time to start separating artwork. Now it's time to, her boyfriend's in construction too. And I said, oh, you need shirts? Well, here you go. You can print them. You know how to get in the shop. Figure it out. So I sat there and
hell yeah,
showed her how to do it. And I said, here you go. So it's good. It's good. It's good to have somebody else there to do it. And I can mow the lawn. So.
And you got to get those white New Balances.
Yeah.
I just wore mine the other day, dude. I wear them constantly. Mine are so seasoned. They're almost brown at this point, but I can't give them up. All right. It's a good time to do a shop hack. Jeff, do you have anything?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily a shop hack. We use it here. And I wish I would have done it when I was at my other shop, many, many years ago. And it helps with the reclaim. So, I recommend to people who are still, not CTS. I even still use it on my exposure unit right now. So basically blocking out with black Gorilla Tape, duct tape, whatever on your glass. Basically when you're coating your screen and you get that double bead of, the thicker bead, if you're not wiping it off and it's not, if it stays super thick, that's always the trouble spot when you're doing reclaim, especially when you're still doing it by hand. You're spending more time trying to get that reclaimed and out of there. Taping off on your exposure unit on your glass, just throwing something to block those edges out. And then you get a nice clean rectangle. And, because those edges won't be exposed when you go and rinse out your stencil, you just rinse out those sides right there. And when you go to reclaim, you're not having to reclaim those edges, So we do that with our CTS because we got one of those, the old MSP 3140s, the Newark exposure unit, because occasionally we still use, we still do some things that we might need film for or whatever. So I haven't removed the glass. So all I did was I actually just used yardsticks, cut them down, same thing, taped them to the glass, and then they just block out the edges. And so I just have a nice clean rectangle. So when we go to reclaim, it's simple. It's just in, out, no cleanup necessary, no extra cleanup necessary on those edges.
I like it. I've never tried that. I have heard, just have like a business card or a scraper and just like you said, like when the bead's there, just card the size real quick. So it's pretty much the same thickness as everything else. Right. But I've never heard of anybody taping the glass and putting it on. I mean, it totally makes sense. I've never tried it. I kind of want to now. Yeah.
It's just kind of like a block out. Yeah. That's all it is. So
sweet. Hell yeah. Nate, do you have anything you want to add or do you want to bring your daughter in? She probably has the answer.
She's probably at home right now. Yeah. She's at home. So, I think for me, like Jeff said, with his 2 shifts, I've got a high school girl that comes in on the weekends to do all my reclaim stuff. And in the previous years, I've had youth apprenticeships through the high school. Kids come in and just clean screens. And that brings that overhead cost down of paying somebody top dollar because they're learning, but then also gives them an opportunity that if they're interested in screen printing, I let them use the presses. I let them come in after hours and print shirts for themselves, or if they want to start like a retail brand. So I think maybe a shop hack might be look into some youth apprenticeship programs to get some kids that might be future employees that already know how your shop runs and operates. Dylan said, I'm not doing that shit.
No, I'm saying
it didn't work out before or something. Or did you try it once?
No. The funny thing is like I've been doing this thing with it's called BOCES. It's like basically the trade school you go to when you're in high school, where you can learn to like be an electrician or anything else. There's a ton of options there. I'm in the talks with them, and I have been for like the last year, of setting up a screen printing department there. And I want to basically like bring all the people that I know, where I can get emulsion and screens and get basically a mini shop set up. And I even said, like, I will come down and I'll teach the class or whatever, like every so often, or at least teach the art department how to do it. And then I can kind of just be like a consultant for it and whatever else. But the point of it is I just wanted to do it. Like I thought it would be cool. We don't have any screen printing classes in high school here or anything. I just figured, fuck it. Like, I would like to be involved. I think it would be fun. But the side effect of that is if I can get this rad screen printing department at this trade school going, and they get kids there that are interested, I could just have the teacher cherry pick these good students who are in love with screen printing and be like, yep, you need a job. You need a job. Once a year I could get the 2 top kids or something that if they were interested in, continuing on with screen printing, I'd be like, oh, sweet. Like it's like a semester long interview basically.
Yeah.
And these kids. So
that's the reason why I lost my lead screen printer last year, or at the beginning of this year, is because he went into welding at school. And he's a badass welder. And it was the same thing. They were like, yeah, you need a job. And so
yeah, we can get you a job at this really good place who does welding. Yeah. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, they're gone. Right. But I don't know. I like the idea of, and I always tell, and this is going to sound terrible, but internally we joke about when we're hiring somebody is like, I need someone with no other ambitions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hire the kid who's also a really good welder, because he's just going to leave. Like, I'm going to train him. Yeah. And this is the reality, is like, it takes a year or two to get somebody like, oh, they're comfortable on press. They know what they're doing. They're a good employee. What I don't want to do is 3 years in, they're like, oh, I'm going to go start my career now. Right. And I'm like, fuck, I just spent 3 years getting you good. And then now you're going to leave. Like, I want to hire that kid who leaves high school, who's just like, yeah, I just want to fucking play video games at night and like hang out with my friends. And I just want a job to be able to pay my bills and do what I want to do. And I want to love screen printing when I'm there and whatever. Like, I don't want someone who wants to be a fucking veterinarian. Like, I want the kid who wants to just screen print band t-shirts and go home. Yeah. And, whatever.
They're out there. They're out there.
You need to want to be here. That's what it is. All right, next question. Greatest shop fail.
Oh, shit.
I think I could go first if you're trying to think of something.
Yeah. Let me think.
The person who's rubbing their head the hardest has the answer.
Well, I think for me, it was when I was just starting out and not really having a process at all as far as mock-up approvals, and just approval over the phone isn't an approval on the computer or in an email. So when they came to pick up their shirts, they said, well, that's not what I wanted, and you're like, well, you fucking told me on the phone, dude, that's what you wanted. No, I don't remember that conversation. It's like, well, now I have no proof, I've got nothing to back it up. And it just turned into just a snowball effect of like, I need to dial in my shit. Luckily it was during COVID, so I could do that. Yeah. To make sure I have all these approvals, all this shit in order, and not just, yeah, dude, we can do it for you. Oh, what do you want? Okay, cool. Sounds good. Red ink. Oh, all right. Sweet. But I think that was my biggest thing, is not having any sort of process, just getting into the game to print fucking t-shirts and make money. And then eventually it's going to bite you in the ass, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do have to say, we went years and years of our mock-up approval was basically, that we were pretty thorough. Like we would send emails back and forth with info, and we would say in the email, like, oh, okay, you want it to be these colors and we want you this inches down, but it was never all in the same place. It was always chaotic because it was just an email. Well, for years, we would just send the invoice and we would send a mock-up, which is just the photo of a shirt where we place the artwork on, and they would say approved. Well, we kept getting stupid things where they would call us and be like, well, you made it 3 inches down when I wanted an 1.5 inches down from the collar, or this color wasn't the color I thought it was going to be. And I feel like it was almost weekly. We were getting people being like, oh, I want this redone. I want this reprinted. And I'd be like, well, where did you say in the email that this is what it was going to be? And the person would be like, oh, I didn't. And we did it over the phone. And they said on the phone they wanted it to be 1.5 inches down, but we printed it 2 inches. It was just this whole thing of like, he said, she said all the time.
Yeah.
So at one point I made a mock-up approval form, which is the one we use now, where it's got the t-shirt mocked up in the middle and all this other stuff. But then it's got everything. It's got like placement of the artwork is 12 wide, and on the back it's 11 wide, and the sleeve is 3 wide. And then it's got all the Pantone colors that we had picked before we send it to them. Of like, 12 color job, you got 12 Pantones. And then the next thing is placement. So it's like on the front, it's 2 inches down. On the back, it's 4.5 inches down. On the sleeve, it's 1 inch above the seam. Like, and then that's what gets sent to them with the invoice. So when they pay, they're approving all of that shit. Like literally our error rate and our redos went basically to nothing. Like it was like, okay, I'm spending X amount of dollars on just redoing shit all year. Now it's like, nope, I saved so much time, money, everything, and just headache and customers being pissed. Like it almost went to zero. So I'm saying if you're listening to this and you don't have a form like that, do it today. Like you will have so many less issues because you have your ass covered. And it's not just something to look cool. It's literally just something to cover your ass. So strongly.
I recently got into a bad habit of simple jobs, me thinking I don't need to send a proof because it's white ink on a navy shirt.
Still send it.
Yep. It was just a couple months ago when I had literally next to no time, I felt like, to print a job. And of course I chose the wrong art and just went and printed it. And, you think you don't have enough time until you have to reprint that job a second time. And then you're like, you know what? I can find that time. And so, yeah, I got, my ass handed to me on a few jobs, just these last few months. Huh. Yeah. But my worst shop fail probably was when we first opened and I took on a job that was probably too big for us and, probably should have gone elsewhere. And I wound up, it was probably like my 19th day in a row, probably working 16, 18-hour days. And I just said, fuck it. I was delirious. I didn't know really what day it was. I was just printing and sent the stuff out. And I got an email from the customer. I actually got a phone call and he was like, what the fuck is this? And I see the pictures and I'm like, how did I even put that in the box? Like it was such bad QC on my end due to me being the only person here doing everything, SEPs and trying to do sim process from film. It was a really, really, really hard pill to swallow hard lesson when, it's 100 zip up independent hoodies that you fucked up that you have to replace. And it was for lack of, understanding what reality was at that time.
The worst, not to say that we're not to blame or whatever, but the worst part about stuff like that is when you start to get sloppy in a big job and, something might happen where you get some shirts that are crooked or someone needs to take a break and hasn't taken a break yet. And something's a little off. It's always the one that without like there's a wizard out there or something, that shirt always ends up on top of box.
Absolutely.
And then the first thing that customer does when they open the box is they find that shirt that's crooked or messed up or whatever. And then they assume automatically, which they have every right to be, that they're all that way.
Exactly.
And they're like, all my shirts are crooked. And I'm like, first of all, there's no way all of your shirts are crooked.
Right.
Like there's probably a couple, but then you sound like you're just giving excuses at that point.
Yeah.
You're like, they're not this and they're not this, but it's like, for a fact, there's probably 5 shirts out of 1,000 that are slightly off because somebody fucking was talking to somebody else, had their head cocked sideways,
right? And
they were doing this, and then they went back to printing, and everything was fine. But it always happens. It's always the first one they see, and then they tell you they're all, the one thing that all of us screen printers hear all the time from a bad customer or from us fucking something up is unsellable.
Right.
It's like, oh, they're unsellable. It's like, okay, first of all, I will drive to you right now. But yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one to swallow for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I have a couple quick takes and then I will let you guys go about your day. What shirt has your shop printed that you are the most proud of? Jeff, I really wanted to ask you this one because I wanted to know what one you've gotten from a customer that you were like, hell yes.
It was last year. One of my favorite designs that we've printed. It's this one for Creeperama. Damn. Now I'm blanking on the name of the movie. Anyway, it's a sim process design. Vampires in like Santa Barbara. God.
Are you talking about Lost Boys?
Lost Boys. Thank you so much. Yeah. Fucking A. So the
Vampires
Lost Boys.
In Santa Barbara.
So it's the sim process design, and it's on a particular red crystal tie dye, and just the shirt choice plus this design, to me has been hands down one of my favorite designs that we've done. And we've gotten to reprint it like 3 times now. And every time we reprint it, it gets better. Because we're either dialing in, how we're printing or adding a little finesse to some screens, or we have fresh stretched mesh or whatever it is. But the last time we printed it, it flowed like butter. Like we had
Chef's kiss,
100. Oh, dude, it was so nice. It was like 200 pieces, and literally the registration clicked in. My first sample was perfect, and we were running. And you're just like, dude, why can't everything be like this? So I remember that specifically because I'm like, okay, this is an 8-color job. It's going to take us forever to register, and literally we put it on. We were running in like 10 minutes. And the job was finished, boxed up, and done in less than 2 hours. Like, it was sick.
Nate, what's yours?
I do a lot of shit for some professional wrestlers, and
I was going to say it has to be a wrestling shirt.
Yeah.
Dude, and they always end up in professional wrestlers' hands for some reason, whether it's, another independent wrestler that I printed for, but Braun Strowman? Do you know who that is? Big dude, beard. Look him. Well, he's from Wisconsin area, and I don't know if you remember there was like a Christmas parade where somebody drove through it and whatever, and he had a big fundraiser for it, and he's got some Food Network show now. And just the other day, I saw him wearing the same shirt that I printed for this event, for this fundraiser.
That's tight.
And it's like, dude, that was like 5 years ago. This guy still's wearing this Waukesha Home of Blizzard Brawl wrestling t-shirt that I print. It's weird, just random wrestling t-shirts that I print that I see like super high-end, high-profile wrestlers
it's
wearing.
The best.
It's like, dude, what the fuck? Where the fuck did he get that? But that's probably what it is. It's wrestling related shit, but it always ends up in some weird wrestler's hands that was probably drunk the night before and found a t-shirt laying somewhere. I don't know.
That's what's funny too, is you think about all the years that we've been printing, all the shirts we've printed, they're there somewhere. They're out there. People are wearing these things. I mean, hopefully they're not all in a landfill, but they're they're in someone's closet, or they're being worn when someone's painting a house, or they're, wearing it to dinner or whatever they're doing. Like, it's crazy to think that they're all over the place. If you could snap your fingers and change one major thing about your shop, what would it be, Jeff?
My ink department. Like, we literally just gave away probably 200 pints worth of PMS colors that we've mixed. I got to figure out something better, because we just have racks and they're like 4 deep. And I'm like, what do we have in here? Like, hands down, our ink department. Like, I spend so much time trying to figure out if I should mix a color or if I should spend the time finding if I have the color.
The funny thing is we had this same problem. I don't know how many years ago, where basically we were doing so many like 14 color jobs or 12 color jobs, where the production was like, we just mixed 10 of the 14 colors. Like, why did we do that? We have a million colors on the shelf. We have every color you can imagine already mixed on the shelf. Why are we mixing 10 more colors? And what it is we got the new Pantone book with the 7,000s in it. And the people in the office are holding the book up and they're like, you know what? I really like this shade of whatever. What we ended up doing is we ended up basically cataloging every color we had on the shelf currently. And we said, the new rule is you pick from this fucking catalog. We have basically every color you can imagine already mixed. Like, why are we picking new colors that are just like a slight, like, it's not that the artist or a tech pack we got asked for a color that we don't have. It's that we're picking colors. We're doing it to ourselves. We're kicking ourselves in the face. Like, why are we just not walking? And that's the thing now too, is like, they'll write down what Pantones that they think it is. And then they'll go out on the shelf and like look at the colors and be like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And then that way, when it goes to production, the colors are already on the shelf. They know they can just walk over, bing, bang, boom, pick them. Yeah, they might have to mix to refill a cup here and there, but they're not mixing 10 colors. They're mixing one just to refill a current cup. So maybe you get rid of doubles. And I've done that too in the wintertime, where I'm like, go double check and make sure all the Pantones are in order, because we do them in number, like numerical order. And then also it's like throw away doubles, because a lot of times we'll end up with this overflow rack that doesn't fit on our shelving unit. And I'm like, we'll go through and like pick out doubles, or go through the cups. And sometimes there's cups where there's like 3 cups in one, because the first cup cracked and they put it in a second cup. And then that one's got tape on it and they put it in another cup. And it's like, go throw those away or scrape them out, put them in a new cup, print a new label, put it on the shelf. So those are definitely like wintertime projects, but I would just recommend making a catalog of colors you already have and just being like, this is what and again, I might be wrong, but that worked for us, because we did so many high color count jobs that, again, we were the same thing. We have 6 full shelves of colors. Like, why are we mixing another one? This doesn't make any sense.
We're sometimes we get a Pantone color like called out from, color separator or whatever. And I'm like, well, that looks close enough right out of the bucket. I'm going to just use that red or that yellow. Well,
there's a difference to being like, okay, we have 26 bucket colors and these are the colors. I'm saying that we have Pantones mixed where we have literally 85 blues on the shelf. It's like, if you can't find a fucking shade within the 85 blues that we already own, why? What are we doing? Like, there's no need to make 87. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Nate? Is it to have the new shop?
It's just space. It's just more space to be able to upgrade equipment that would make me more efficient. That's all. I mean, when UPS comes, we got to stop production because we got to bring everything around the dryer and then into where people are folding, and then throw the boxes in the corner until they're done boxing up for the day, and then we got to check shit in after. It's like, it just that's the biggest thing.
Yep.
So
I get it. Space.
All
right, I'm gonna do one more here. If you were arrested with no explanation, what do you think your friends and family would think that you have done? If your wife got a call and said Nate was in jail, what would be her first? Oh, he did this.
I mean, being from Wisconsin, the first thing that come to mind is probably a DUI or something, but that's what a little keychain breathalyzer is for. You know, I don't know. I have no idea.
Go on and give me something. Just say you murdered somebody. I don't know. Give me
probably. He says I'm a shitty driver.
You gave someone a DDT off a fence or something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably something stupid. It would be something stupid like that. To be honest with you.
Mine stupidly enough would be probably getting kicked out or starting a fight with a server or somebody for kicking me out of a buffet because I wouldn't eat the carbs. I would only be eating
so
like
specific. This has happened.
No, but I have gone to.
He's
like
this,
this,
maybe it would probably be getting kicked out of a thing because of this at this specific location at this time and this.
Because I only eat meat. I've only been eating meat for like 3 months now. And so like when you go to those buffets, like there's this prime rib place in San Francisco and they want to fill you up with like the potatoes and the bread and the salad and stuff. And I'm
going
just like,
back up to the guy with the knife
just
cutting
prime
a
rib.
slice.
I need prime rib. Yeah. And they're like, hey, come on. You know, something stupid like that.
You're like, I fucking paid. I came here for this.
It says all you can eat.
Well, boys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing round 2. It was a little more successful this time.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I love seeing both of your growth since the last time we've talked. Nate, I hope your daughter surpasses you and gets the bigger shop and we can talk again when she's the boss. Jeff, stop stealing my fucking customers. I still like watching you, Bruno. I'm just saying.
I appreciate it.
Save some for the rest of us. All right, boys. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Excellent.